Hello and welcome to the latest Royal Roundup from Talk. So pop the kettle on. This is the Royal Tea. I'm Sarah Hewson. Coming up on today's show, the Princess of Wales makes her first public appearance since her cancer diagnosis. We've had Garter Day, Royal Ascot, polo and more. Plus a new biography that's branded Meghan Markle as DELUDED. Joining me today to discuss all that and more is Vanity Fair's royal editor Katie Nicholl, The Sun's royal photographer Arthur Edwards, and the Evening Standard's royal editor Robert Jobson. Now, the moment we've all been waiting for, the return of Princess Catherine since she revealed her preventative cancer treatment in March. The Princess of Wales watched the Trooping the Colour ceremony along with her 3 children over the weekend. Ahead of the event, she said she was looking forward to attending the King's birthday parade and is hoping to join a few more public engagements over the summer. But she added she's not out of the woods yet. As excited as we are to see her, we wish her a speedy recovery. Arthur, you were there at Trooping, and there was a lot of uncertainty about just what this parade was going to look like this year with the King's cancer, the Princess of Wales. We didn't know until the day before whether she'd be attending. What was the atmosphere like?
Well, the atmosphere was wet, I can assure you. and the thing is, what was awful, the weather was bad, and of course the coaches were closed. So, where you got these really lovely pictures of the coaches going down, we didn't, and it was all through misty glass. But come, it came down like steroids. I can tell you it was awful. But as they came on the balcony, the rain stopped, and it just was like happy families. It was great to see them all together, and little Louis was doing his little dance to the music, but Catherine looked stunning, and her outfit. I mean, there were some really smart outfits on that balcony, but she was just blew them all away. She looked $1 million, and it was great to see her back, and she looked well, But then the King looks well, and yet he's still having treatment, and there I looked on there was a nice picture of the King and her together, both of them, struggling with this illness, but. Looks like both of them are winning the battle.
And Katie, Arthur talking about that image of the King and the Princess of Wales on the balcony, standing side by side. Do you think that was deliberate, the positioning, the Princess of Wales?
I don't know. I mean, I looked back at the footage from last year, and obviously it was William shoulder by shoulder with his father. I suspect it might well have been. I mean, the King has been a massive pillar of support to Catherine. I mean, don't forget when when you think about it, they were in the same hospital, both of them undergoing treatment. He went to spend some time with her when she was in hospital. It feels like he's been with her every step of this journey. And so I think possibly that positioning was quite deliberate. I mean, I think the most important thing was that she felt safe on that day. We assumed she was having a good day, but she needed to feel safe. I mean, Arthur, she looked $1 million. She really was knockout, resplendent in white. But I sort of imagine her a bit like a swan, like gliding and looking majestic, but underneath the water, paddling through it. The nerves that must have been involved because of the pressure.
And knowing that being her first appearance and at such a high-profile event, and that everybody was going to be scrutinising her for any signs that, how is she doing? How does she look? Has she lost her hair?
Absolutely. I mean, she had the world's cameras on her. So I think to be flanked by her father-in-law, who's been that great support, her husband, with her 3 children in front of her, would have given her that confidence and that safety to be able to go out and do something that must have been very daunting.
And actually, she took part, Rob, in the full event, because she could have just stepped out onto the balcony, couldn't she, alongside the family?
I think
but to be with the children in the carriage procession.
I think she had to sort of also be marshalling the kids as well, and I think that was quite important. But she's quite a steely character. I mean, I would have thought she would have risen to that occasion. She knew it was all eyes were going to be on her, but I actually think that she would have put a lot of effort into that. She got the look exactly right, as Arthur and Katie was saying, but I think also it was important for her to be there for the regiment, but also for her children. She knows that that's such an important look for the royal family going forward. They are the future royal family, and to support the King, which I think is very, very important. He supported her, and she wanted to support him. I think it was the ideal moment for her to make a sort of partial comeback. We all know that as she said, she's not out of the woods yet. But I think we will see a bit more of her coming towards the autumn, and that's fingers crossed she emerges fit and healthy.
Because she had released a message on the Friday night, hadn't she, Arthur? Very personal, very intimate, I thought, when she talked about the good days and the bad days, and on the bad days you just have to give in to your body and just rest. What did you think when you read that?
Well, I read it, and I obviously felt tremendously sympathetic, but you know, knowing we're getting this information from the royal family now, you never would get that normally. I mean, when our Queen died, our late Queen died, we didn't even know what she died of, you know, what was her illnesses, we never knew anything. But Catherine's keeping us posted about this, and I was surprised it's taken so long, because I thought she was fit and well, but that note, when, you know, just tells us that she's struggling still with it, but she's, you know, determined to get fit and well, and she's saying she's involved in her office doing work anyway, and working with the children in the school and everything. So, you know, she's obviously fighting it, but getting the treatment. And, you know, cancer is a terrible illness, but 2/3 of people survive it now. So hopefully King and Catherine get over it quickly.
I mean, it is extraordinary, isn't it, that the timing of this, as you say, Katie, with the two of them both being in hospital at the same time, both then subsequently getting cancer diagnoses.
And both going into hospital for something completely nothing to do with cancer.
Yeah, I mean, it's
and
extraordinary.
both finding it, and then the doctors finding it afterwards. I mean, that's just unbelievable. And both of them battling, you know, two of the most important members of our family, our royal family, struggling like that. But, you know, but the King's back working. Queen Camilla said to me the other day, if only he'd do what he was told, he'd be a lot better, you know. So he's obviously...
I get the impression from the comments we hear from the Queen that he's not the best patient.
No, he's not. But, you know, he thinks he's taking on more than he should do, really. I'm sure the doctors are advising him to cut back, and but, you know, he's enjoying Ascot, and he's there every day, but then that's not too bad. He doesn't have to rehearse any speeches or practice his German or French, which he does. So he's coping all right. But it'll be lovely to see Catherine back, and William again. You know, William looks, you know, when you see him on his own, you know, it doesn't look right. And you know,
what was I think particularly powerful was that we saw the Wales family all out.
I think that's probably what she was so determined to get back for. She knew that it's the one time of year that the children are quite relaxed, I think, and then the cameras are focused on them, and the palace and the Wales family are quite happy for that to happen. So I think it was important that it wasn't just William standing there with the three children. It would look wrong.
Well, those photos, those images from the balcony are kind of part of the historical record, aren't they? I mean, we've had quite a lot of balcony appearances in recent years because we've had the various jubilees, we had the coronation. But actually, in normal times, Trooping the Colour, the King's birthday parade, is that centrepiece, isn't it? That one time. Yeah. And if the Princess of Wales hadn't been there, that would have been significant.
That would have been,
It would have been all the talk, wouldn't it? Everybody would have...
Well, it's like, Rob, it's like what you were saying, that image, it's an iconic image. That is the projection of the future. It's not just a balcony appearance that's about the now. You're projecting what that's going to look like further down the line. And without her, it doesn't look great.
I think that all the talk would have been, if she hadn't been there, it wouldn't have been about the parade, it wouldn't have been about the fly past now, what the King looked like.
And only on the balcony were the working royals.
Yeah,
it wasn't the Kents and it was none of those. It was just them, you know.
Well, I mean, that's only recently the Duke of Kent has stopped doing.
Well, he's
been incredible. I think
he is incredible, but you know, he's not got any.
But the focus is there, as Katie was saying.
That was the family, and you knew that.
And when we talk about the future, can we, Katie, talk about little Louis, because he never disappoints.
No,
does he?
No balcony appearance is complete without him. I mean, he's obviously just full of beans. Yes. I think that's the best way to describe him. And you know, I love the way that Charlotte will keep him in check. And you know, George is sort of watching on, thinking he really shouldn't be doing that, but he is. I know, and it's
she always
just
tells him, doesn't she?
Charlotte saying Could you
does.
stop that, Louis?
She just
Yes.
keeps him in check.
And when he's waving, he's going like that.
He's got his double-handed windscreen wiper wave, his little jig. I mean, he's just a joy.
He's delightful.
He is
she's just
delightful.
as funny the way.
Well, he almost stole the Queen's Jubilee, didn't he?
Yes.
Through the balcony, everybody was looking at Louis.
But without him, it would be quite a sort of a bit sort of Madame Tussauds.
I think it's humanising for them as well, isn't it? Because
they've got these two perfect children, and then you've got Louis.
Louis.
I'm not saying he's not perfect. I'm just saying he doesn't seem to care.
And let's be honest, it's quite a long parade to be watching. And he did have a little jig to the bagpipes.
Yes.
Yeah, he did,
But, then he's a bit bored and he's trying to open the window.
Well, he's yawning at one point. He's yawning, which is
But
probably
I
what
noticed
Catherine
this
felt
time
like
neither
too.
Catherine or William bothered to keep him in check. They just said...
William kept having a word with him.
but
kept sort of...
But it was mainly Charlotte was saying, like, put your
arms by your sides and yes.
So
but he looked so smart, didn't he?
He
Blue
did,
tie and his little jacket. Yeah, he did.
But you do. He is funny. It's a sort of pantomime every time he appears.
Oh, I think he's a star.
And as for the Princess of Wales, she did reveal, Katie, that she's still got a few more months left of treatment to go. But she's hoping there might be a few more appearances. When might we expect to see her again?
I think Wimbledon is a possibility. I mean, she also talked in that message about the importance of doing things that brought her joy. And Arthur, you were saying how busy the king is, but he's most joyful when he's happy. And I think anyone that's gone through this journey would tell you that as much normality as you can have in life, you're going to make a better recovery. They don't want to be home and sick. The king, it brings him joy to go out and meet people and do these jobs. Catherine, if she can get to Wimbledon, she'll love it and she will light up that royal box.
She will, but again, the difference we'll say with the trooping is that they're very much them and the public quite
very
separate.
controlled
circumstances,
isn't it?
Apart from, getting into the carriage. I think Wimbledon is a very public moment, being even in that royal box.
She loves the tennis.
She does love the tennis. I think they could whisk her in and out quite easily. She wouldn't need to stay for the whole thing. It's just, I see her at her most relaxed when she's there. She takes the ambassadorship of the LTA really seriously. She loves the game. I think we might see her there.
What about the Japanese state visit, Rob?
Again, I think they could probably...
I thought not.
I don't think so. It's very formal. I think it's possible, but I think that's one she could avoid if it was felt that it was needed, that she needed to avoid.
You think she'd go to the state banquet?
It's a bit of an ordeal. I think that she...
You'd say that didn't come under the category of things that bring joy.
Not much.
Well, you don't know. I mean, she says some days it's bad. You don't know if it's going to be
I'm sure if she's
day,
feeling up to it, she'll support William, but actually that's not a must-be, I don't think.
Prince William posted a touching Father's Day tribute to his pa, King Charles, with a nostalgic photo taken 40 years ago. The sweet snap shows a young William playing football with his father on the 12th of June, 1984. Was that one of yours, Arthur?
No, I did one similar. We were black and white in them days. But I did that picture, yeah, I did remember that.
I've seen it, yeah.
That was a great picture. But the best picture of the day was when William scratched his head with his left hand. And the reporter I was working with at the time, Harry Arnold, said, I bet he's left-handed, and it turned out he was.
He was.
Yeah, so that I remember that day so well. There was another lovely picture of Diana, Charles and William on the bench together. It was a really lovely picture, yeah. It was a great session, that. I remember it like it was yesterday. It was fabulous, yeah.
So this was taken in the grounds of Kensington Palace, and William's there, a little toddler, kicking a football around. His father, then the Prince of Wales. Very smart for a little bit of football.
Yeah, but it was different then.
Keeping up the standards.
You wouldn't get the Prince of Wales, putting a T-shirt on. I mean, we very rarely see him.
Or his England kit.
Without a jacket
or his Welsh kit.
Without a tie on,
He goes to the Amazon rainforest wearing a tie.
Yeah,
I mean,
he does, yeah.
So,
while we're all dying of bursting of the heat. But, no, but I mean, it looked quite formal, didn't it? But I mean, Arthur was there. It was probably at that time a bit of a change of direction, in terms of they were freer to do these things.
It was an amazing day.
And now the next generation, Katie, because we had the first social media post signed by George, Charlotte and Louis with their photograph and their tribute to Papa, as they call William.
Yes, I just love listening to Arthur's stories. It just takes me back. It's wonderful. And then you think, gosh, things are being done so differently now. You know, William is the Prince of Wales, but he's there. I think he was wearing shorts and a t-shirt,
and a hoodie and a cap.
Right? It's so casual. It's informal. It's a gorgeous shot taken by their mother, who I think always gets the best pictures of the children. I mean, some people are saying, well, be nicer if they were facing the camera, but I think you're missing the point about this image. I think she deliberately wanted to put a wistful image out there.
I'm not missing the point. All I'm saying is it was a lovely picture, but I think that idea of their backs has been done now about not by them, but by Meghan and Harry, about 5 or 6 times.
Yeah.
It's not new, and it seems becoming that this is the, oh, look, this wistful picture.
I thought it was very evocative, actually.
I like the picture. I thought it was nice.
The four of them with their arms around each other.
Yeah.
And I think given what they're going through at the moment, that picture just fitted the mood. You know, you're looking out and nature is... Well, nature is somewhere where they take great solace, where she's spent a lot of time. They love it there. And it's just, I think that's what the family is really like. That's where they're happiest.
I know, but
I thought it was a great picture.
It's a lovely picture. Yeah. Not just in the picture, just that it's been done... the back picture's been done enough, Ed, I think, after this.
Well, I've done 2 back pictures of our late Queen, and they're both, I'm very proud of both of them. One's when she unveiled the statue of Eric Morecambe, and you know she's smiling because we all did smile when we saw it. That was up, and
no, that's great.
I mean, when she was at RAF base once with all the jets going over.
I agree with you.
And you know it's the Queen, and you knew it was the thing. But the way William had his arm around Catherine and the kids and in their shorts going to the beach, I thought it was a great idea. Well done, Catherine.
And when we're talking about Catherine with those moments of joy and taking solace in nature and that being very healing for her, actually you can see that's there.
Well, look at the photograph that was released with that message, that beautiful Matt Porteous picture of her under the weeping willow, looking at, again, that sort of wistful pose.
Looking up with hope.
Right?
I thought it was a bit.
I know it was a lovely picture, and I agree with you. It was a really... But for a newspaper, everybody took the tree out and just... pulled Catherine up.
Such a shame, because it was a stunning image.
It's like that one with the king with the tree.
Yeah.
I know we get the tree.
No, we understand that, and I agree. It's a really lovely photograph, but, you know...
I'm not sure that
bold is
necessarily will...
Well, I suppose we're all looking for different things
the test of time.
These images, aren't we?
Right.
Well, yeah, you could have put 3 ads where all the tree was.
Taking your commercial hat off for a minute, Arthur. Yeah. We didn't get a Father's Day message posted publicly by Meghan and Harry. And I think there is definitely increasingly, because we did see a bit of Archie in the early years, didn't we? But they're very, very closely guarding the privacy of those children.
Unless it's in a documentary for them to make money out of. The reality is they seem to be almost strangers to the royal family, which must be very sad for the king, I would think.
And sad for William's children. They don't be their cousins. We should be with them at Balmoral. We should be playing with them. They should be up there at Sandringham at Christmas time with them. But these are
the years when you bond. You saw, didn't we, at Ascot, where Zara goes up to William and there's a lot of hug.
Yeah.
I mean, they're very, very close cousins.
They are close,
as are Beatrice and Eugenie.
Yeah.
That will never really be the case with the Harry and William's children. They'll be so far apart. You know, they've never had that moment of bonding as young children.
Which is really important, actually, isn't it? Because they are born into a very unique family, and only they really understand what it is like.
Well, you saw that in that one picture when you did see William's face and Zara's face. When Ascot, when they were and the cousins, I thought that was a lovely.
There's a lovely moment. We'll
picture.
talk about Ascot in a minute, but there is a lovely moment. You're right, between him and is it Eugenie, who's got the tassel on her hat, which he's finding very amusing. Talking of tassels, the King donned traditional velvet robes and a plumed hat as he led the senior royals around Windsor Castle for Garter Day. He was accompanied by the Queen, who was also in the Order's full regalia. The pair were followed by their young pages, Guy Tryon and Charles Van Cutsem. However, one element that raised some eyebrows was the attendance of Prince Andrew during the private celebrations on Monday, despite being banned from the public side of the day. Katie, Garter ceremony, the oldest order of chivalry. Some people watching on, not knowing what this is and not having seen this before, wonder what on earth is this all about?
I mean, it's sort of pomp and history and everything in a very unique ceremony. I mean, the regalia itself is unusual, and it was a shame that the princess wasn't there, because I remember watching her at Garter Day on years past, and there was one moment I think she couldn't actually stop stifling a giggle, because seeing William there with his ostrich plumes and his mantles and cloaks was obviously just a little bit too much even for her. She usually manages to stay poker face, but listen, it's one of those days where you sort of look at Britain and think, have we gone back to medieval times? But then it's a bit like trooping. I mean, when I sort of engage with my American audience for Vanity Fair and they get in touch on Instagram, whatever, they're like, no one does it like the Brits. This is what you do is completely unique. And it is. And I think it's wonderful that these time-honoured traditions continue, and that, you know, people look forward to these moments in the royal calendar.
And the Duke of York, he is a Knight of the Order of the Garter, but he doesn't take part in the procession. He was at the lunch, though.
I think he should take part in the procession.
I
Do you?
too, yeah.
I think he's a Knight of the Garter. He's not been found guilty of anything. If they want to strip him of the order, then strip him of the order.
But his association with Jeffrey Epstein
It's bad
and the
judgment.
mistakes he
It's
made
what
in that
Arthur's just said.
friendship, regardless of any other accusations.
Look, I'm with you
He
on
made a
this
mistake.
totally.
I'm not saying he didn't.
His association with Epstein
With a
was mistake.
convicted sex offender.
Was a mistake.
Yeah, it was a mistake, yeah.
But doesn't mean that you have committed the atrocities and the crimes that people have said that he's committed. That's all I would say.
But his brother, the King, has clearly made a decision, hasn't
His brother,
he? That
the
he's
King, has
not
made a
to
decision
be
at the time
seen in
ahead of the
public.
Jubilee celebrations, when they didn't want to distract. When he could have taken the case on at the time of the Jubilee celebrations, it was decided then, I think, by everybody around him, that I think he wanted to take the case on, from what I understand. Look, I'm not here to defend his judgment over Epstein. I'm with Arthur on that 100%. But I think if you are going to be a Knight of the Garter, then you be a Knight of the Garter. If they don't want him to be a Knight of the Garter, take it away from him.
But it's an order of chivalry, isn't it? It's quite difficult to have someone who has had the allegations that he has had hanging over his head being
But you know, I mean, you look at some of the allegations, Sarah, that were made against very high-profile generals and senior politicians in our time, where those allegations just fell apart. And we can't judge people just because there's allegations. You cannot do trial by media. And I do believe that if they are going to be, I say this about the Duke of York, and I mean, I have no defence for his judgment with Epstein. I think Epstein's an evil and an appalling person. But I think just take the thing away from him and stop this private-public charade.
Well, that would create headlines for all the wrong reasons as well. I mean, I think in this instance, the right decision was made. It's a bit like, you know, at Christmas, you know, he goes to the service, or the other year he went to the service first and wasn't part of the big walkabout. I mean, that may change over the years.
And
you know,
this year he did do the
right.
walk
So
to
you're
the
already
church,
seeing that. You're already seeing that change.
Back
but
slowly. Yeah, I think.
Well, I just think putting him front and central at something like a ceremony that honours chivalry and everything else would be an absolute disaster. I mean, there was already that backlash over the memorial service of King Constantine of Greece, when it was Andrew seen leading the royal family. It is not a good look. It's as simple as that. It is not a good look, and it's not what they need at the moment.
I know, absolutely agree
Andrew's
with you.
main problem was the interview with Sarah Elliman at Mateless. That was the thing. He was so arrogant in that.
He's always denied any association with Virginia Giuffre, hasn't he? But that interview with Newsnight was an absolute
That's what killed
crash.
him.
It was. But I think.
And he was advised not to do it.
But and he made a mistake. But
another mistake.
But the point of this is that, you know, we cannot. The King has got to, I think, has got to make a decision one way or the other. You can't keep having this discussion every time. He's going to be here, but only in private. He's going to do this only in private.
Problem is, Andrew's a difficult component to get rid of. He doesn't want to move out of Royal Lodge. I mean, he'd have done anything to have been in that ceremony. He's problematic for the King. And theirs has been a problematic relationship over the years. It's not always been an easy one.
Let's move on to a happier subject, shall we? The Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh, who celebrated their silver wedding anniversary this week. The couple marked the occasion with a new portrait showing the two embracing at their home in Surrey. The Duke becomes the second person of the late Queen's descendants to mark 25 years of marriage. Arthur, of all the Queen's 4 children, this is the marriage that has really stood the test of time, hasn't it? What's their secret?
I think their secret is they do their own thing, you know. I mean, she works tirelessly, patronages, and so does he. I mean, she travels abroad a lot on her own, and the King and Edward, you know, does his own thing. But they obviously love each other dearly because, and and she likes to party, he likes to go home early. But you know, they live together and they love each other, but they do things separately. And I find that works, you know, for them. I mean, I love working engagements with her. Unfortunately, she doesn't publish as well as the other members of the royal family, but she is such a fine person. And as I say, I remember when I used to take flowers on her birthday when she was courting Edward, and she was always so just lovely person to talk to. And I remember judging a photographic competition with her once, and she's just fun and enjoyable and doing some amazing work, actually, that doesn't necessarily get the publicity that it deserves.
I mean, the King, I think, sees her as an asset. I mean, even when, remember years ago, she was doing stuff with the journalist charity, and the press club.
Right,
she came along, she worked tirelessly for us, and I think she's
fantastic.
She's a really great member of the royal family.
Well, we saw a strong display of family unity this week as the royal family rallied around to show their support for Lady Gabriella Windsor at Royal Ascot. This was her first official public appearance since the death of her husband, Thomas Kingston. She was in the carriage procession. She was met with a warm embrace by Zara Tindall. She was sat alongside the Princess Royal. I thought, Katie, it was extremely courageous of her to make this public appearance.
It was. I agree with you.
At a very difficult time.
Well, I mean, how emotive that must have been for her, because the last time she was at Ascot, she had her husband by her side, and she's gone through an awful time. And I think it was very, very brave and courageous of her to do that, and lovely to see, as you say, the family rallying around her and that sort of embrace from Zara. Do you know, when you're thinking all of this and their cancer journeys and in the terrible suicide of Thomas Kingston, these are real things. These happen to people. These happen to families. And so in many ways, it's proven to be a great leveller. I think the royal family is more relatable to now than ever before, because we're seeing them as real people.
And Rob, actually, when you talked about the cousins and the bonds between the cousins, I mean, that was on display more than ever at Ascot this week, with that huge embrace from Zara and Mike Tindall with his arm around
I think
Gabriella.
They're quite an important couple, Mike and Zara, actually, in terms
the glue.
Of gelling everyone together. And he's, you know, I think someone said about him being like this sort of, you know, strong alpha male character in George's life as well. I think he's there ruffling his hair. It seems Zara is very much connected with all of the cousins, and I mean, I've interviewed her, and I think she's a tremendous lady in what she does. But it does seem that she's got a great connection not only with her cousins but with the King as well. I think his eyes light up when he sees her.
And the King at Ascot as well. Obviously, it was so important to his late mother, but he's going pretty much every day bar Wednesday, where we saw Prince William in the carriage alongside Queen Camilla, Arthur, and also the Middletons, Carol and Michael there in the royal box. A very important part they're playing.
Yeah, well, they used to own horses. I mean, they were great. The Middletons owned their own racehorses. But Camilla loves racing. I mean, she loves horses, and so I think she'll go every day. But I can always remember when the Queen used to go to Alaska, and Prince of Wales, Prince of Wales used to go. The carriages would turn up and his sports car would turn up, and after the first race, he'd clear off. Yeah,
but that seems to have changed.
Now he's changed, because now he's an owner. Now he's had a winner.
Yeah, he had a winner last year, didn't he?
And he's now in
got a taste of the glory.
He's taken on a lot of the Queen's
I suppose
horses,
it's that different role, isn't it?
He's changed completely now.
It's his race course.
He couldn't wait to get away. Yeah,
He used to go and play polo, didn't he?
Well, the late Queen would love that, because I think she was always worried that when she died, that love of horses, that continuation would also die as well. I mean, it continues through Princess Anne and Zara, who's always there.
Camilla as well.
And I think that's probably a large reason why Charles does enjoy it so much. And as Arthur said, he's a winner now.
Yeah, he's had a winner.
Absolutely.
And now you see him screaming in the box as the horses come in the final photo. I must tell you a funny picture. At the Derby one year, Carol Middleton had a horse running in the race before the Derby. And we looked everywhere for her, and I finally spotted her, and her horse was going for the title, and she's screaming like a lunatic, like absolutely screaming. And I sent that picture to her. But when I saw the King have that winner recently, he was the same. He was screaming from the balcony. Like it's something about
some
it.
Some of those pictures you've taken, I mean, I've seen them, blown them up when I've been doing on talks on the ships, and the ones of the Queen at
That's
racing,
where you saw her at her
really
most
amazing.
animated.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you see them in the paper, it's one thing, but you see them like blown up on a massive screen. It's huge. I mean, and you see the expression in the Queen's face. It's incredible.
Yeah. Oh no, that's when you get the pictures you never normally get.
Pure
ever.
joy.
Pure joy. Like
Except for the Duke of Edinburgh, as the old Duke of Edinburgh, he didn't show any joy.
No, Duke of Edinburgh. Oh no, he never.
He couldn't wait to get
But
away.
I remember he messed up the Queen, all like that. You know, we never get those things otherwise. You know, so I think I'm glad he's taken up the Queen's racing. I mean, I know Camilla would. She absolutely loves it. Oh God, she does.
Meghan Markle has received widespread backlash for launching a new American Riviera orchard product before trooping the colour. A close friend of the couple posted pictures of a new jam and dog biscuits on the eve of the special occasion on social media. They appeared to be new products from Meghan's brand. Katie, it's a difficult one, this, isn't it? Because it wasn't the Sussexes themselves posting this. It was a friend, but the timing came just as the Princess of Wales was about to make her comeback at trooping the colour.
It's always, but with the Sussexes, it feels like it's always in the timing. I don't think anyone has a problem with their friends flogging their ridiculously overpriced jam or dog biscuits or whatever it is. But for it to come on the eve of such an important occasion, it just feels tone deaf. And, you know, whether Nacho had consulted Harry or not, possibly it was just an awkward coincidence, but I think it just doesn't serve the Sussexes well in any shape or form.
But they're out, aren't they? I mean, if you're not on the grid, you can't work out when things should be released and not. They're no longer members of the royal family.
Mind you, you know the date
they knew
trooping
was coming. They knew trooping was coming. Harry would have known that.
They're going to do whatever they can to make money.
Of course, they've got to flog it.
That's what you know. If they can
make it, they've basically got.
They know that they've got to sell. Otherwise, they've got no money coming in. They can't rely on spare for the rest of their lives.
Well, let's stay with the Duchess of Sussex. A new bombshell biography about the Beckhams by celebrity biographer Tom Bower has claimed that the Duchess of Sussex deluded herself into thinking she was of a higher social status than Victoria Beckham. In a tell-all book, The House of Beckham, Bower claims Meghan Markle put on airs around the former posh spice as she believed her marriage into the royal family put her into a higher rank. Bower wrote, as a seasoned operator, Meghan deluded herself that her status in the royal family placed her above Victoria in the social pecking order. Katie, it's not the first story we've had of rivalry between Meghan and Victoria.
No.
How much do we read into this?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I'd love to be a fly on the wall between any of the meetings that had happened between them. I mean, I wouldn't want to mess with Victoria. She's a very, very strong, feisty woman, and obviously traits that Meghan has as well. I mean, who knows? It all sort of felt like it was starting quite positively between the Sussexes and the Beckhams, because you remember when the Sussexes were renting that place in the Cotswolds very close to the Beckhams, and, you know, Harry and David have always got on. I mean, Robert, we were on that tour, the world tour, back in 2010, and there was always really nice banter between David and both William and Harry. But for whatever reason, it just looks like the Beckhams have distanced themselves, as have other high-profile celebrities from the Sussexes.
Supposedly that they were accused of leaking stories to the press, something Victoria was pretty fed up about. And there was apparently this phone call between Harry and David, and very awkward.
David now just makes honey and just gets on well with the king making honey.
Yeah, I think David and Victoria put their flag in that camp.
on being Sir David.
Yeah, 100%.
He wants that,
and I think he's going to get it.
Yeah. He's not going to side with the Sussexes. He's going to get his knighthood.
The Sussex don't give out knighthoods.
No.
I think knighthood on the cards.
I think that's all he's. Yeah, I think he wants that. But you know, Victoria is. I mean,
Lady Posh.
She is so posh, and I love it. You know, she never smiles. I remember when he got his OBE. I did the pictures at the palace. I said, "Come on, Victoria, give us a smile for once." No, she won't. She's got that look, and she wants to keep it. But his smile is the most wonderful smile in the world. So good luck, David, and I hope you get it, mate.
Arthur, we could listen to your stories for hours and hours, but I'm sorry to say that is all we've got time for this week. We are now going on a series break and we don't have a set date for return, I'm afraid. My thanks to Katie, Arthur and Rob today, and to all of the guests who've appeared on The Royalty over the past couple of years. And in particular, a huge thanks to you for watching us and supporting us. We hope to see you again sometime in the future.